Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode on Spliff Talk. Today, we're going to cover a movie that I saw the other night that was very, 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 very dark. You know that they described this movie as black comedy? An American black comedy. That is exact words that they use on Wikipedia when you look up this movie. And the movie is called Assassination Nation. And trust me, there's a lot of assassinations in this movie. Not really, though. I feel like the title was really exaggerated for this movie. Assassination Nation. Even though I kind of understand why they called it that, but at the same time, I felt like it was a little over the top calling it Assassination Nation, because it didn't really feel like an assassin movie. Felt like a political movie the whole fucking time, like a political version of The Purge. Today we're definitely going to review and do spoilers towards the end, because there's a lot of things I want to cover about this movie. So let's start off with the rating. I have to say I'll give this movie a 3.8. 3.8. And the reason why is because it threw me off. It threw me off in a lot of points. The movie's not very linear. There's a lot of topics it touches on. Kind of feels a little bit over the place at some points. But it is very interesting. It's very good in terms of storytelling. But at the same time, there was just parts that confused me a little bit as my first time watching it and whatnot. So that almost a split got stuck to my lips. Jesus. But what was I? Oh yeah. So in this movie, so it's basically four girls, who are modern, I guess. I don't know. I mean, the place that it feels like it's the movie feels like it's taking place in the past, because it has kind of like a retro vibe, but it's modern. It's modern. It's definitely modern. During these times, the girls just have like a very retro style to them, and then I think one of them, I'm pretty sure I'm not mistaken on this, one of them is a trans woman. And basically the whole premise of the movie is that these girls, live in the suburbs, and they are very expressive sexually, and they are very opinionated about how their sexual expression should be expressed. And it also covers how people react to their younger adults being so sexually affected. Which, like I said, there's just things in this movie that are a little bit confusing. I feel like I'm being confusing as I'm explaining it. Because basically, there's a hacker who starts to reveal people's dark secrets, things that they do behind closed doors, which is why I don't feel like this movie is a comedy at all. It's very dark. There's rape involved in this movie. There's violence, extreme violence, racism, discrimination, everything. Everything is in this movie. There's nothing funny about it. I watched the whole thing and there was nothing funny about it. I was like in awe the whole time, because there was just very strong topics that they were covering, and there was a lot of hypocrisy in this movie about those topics, which is why I'm trying my best to explain it to you without revealing certain plot points. like I said, there's a lot of parts in this movie that are about the people's secrets being revealed by this secret hacker, and then the town goes crazy, and some of the people who are getting exposed, along with other people who are supposedly against this hacker exposing people's dirty laundry, start trying to hunt them down, and instead the girls get involved because one of them has explicit, like they all have like explicit stuff that ends up being revealed, and you know they get blamed somehow because they're labeled as quote unquote sluts and hoes in this movie because of the way that they express their sexuality. And yeah, I mean the movie is, I felt like it was aiming towards like maybe female empowerment, maybe it's kind of like a feminist movie. It's like I felt like the movie was touching a lot of stuff on a lot of stuff that have to do with women, primarily. The way that they're affected by certain viewpoints and the things that they do themselves, how the young are affected in schools. Like there's a lot of things in this movie that you need to watch for yourself to get your own opinion on it. Because I'm going to leave the review here at this point because I can't keep talking about it without revealing stuff. But like I said, the movie's decent enough. It probably deserves more than a 3.8. I just gave it a 3.8 because there was just things in there that I felt weren't clear enough. So let's get to the spoilers. First thing that I'm gonna complain about, the scenes. I have no problem. Let's go with the good first. The acting was great. The overall story was good. Scenes were great, shot great. However, in the way that the scenes play out, that is the part that confuses me. There's so much going on in this movie that you really have to focus and pay attention to certain details to understand why certain things are happening to certain people. And that is why it gets confusing, and I get frustrated with the movie and why it gets a 3.8, because of the way that the scenes pan out to explain why things are happening the way that they are happening. I felt like there was just way too many characters in this movie that were just idiotic to an exaggerated extent that was, I felt, unnecessary. But then again, I understand. I just felt like that certain things could have been done way better in this movie. Now, certain plot points that I want to talk about. Because this movie, like I said, it talks a lot about stuff that happens to females. For example, one of the main character, I felt like her character was such a contradiction throughout the whole movie, because she's someone who portrays her intelligence as someone who understands sexual expression and the things that go into it. Because when she's having that talk with her principal about her drawings that look pornographic, she talks about what it takes for a woman to think about getting that right pose and picture, which is very, very fucking true. However, she therefore contradicts her empowerment as a female when you find out that she's been sending pictures, explicit pictures, and flirting with the father of the baby that she used to babysit, of the little girl that she used to babysit. You know, like, what are you doing being a teenager? I mean, in the movie they said that she's 18, but still, it's like, what are you doing sending pictures like that to the father of the little girl that you used to babysit for, especially when you're so close to his wife? Like, that's disrespectful. It goes against feministic beliefs, don't you think? You know, respecting other women and not wanting those things done onto you that you're doing onto other people. But then, when she explains why she does it, it starts to make sense how these women are influenced. And one thing that I definitely love about this movie is that it's one of those hard topics to really talk about how females and males are affected by society's point of view on sexual expression. I don't know, so I'm pulling this. Sexual expression, like, that's what I do like about this movie the most, is that it goes into these topics from a very hard perspective, and it makes you think. And this is one of those movies that you really want to have a conversation with other people to kind of see where their opinion and their thought process is at. Me personally, like, obviously I felt like the things that have to do with the transgender world is very unfair, and in this movie it kind of portrays that. As far as females in general, one thing that I saw in this movie that even concerns me in real life, because it's things that I even remember witnessing when I was in school. I graduated in 2012, so I'm part of the millennials. Is that females are growing up in this time and age where they feel like they have to portray themselves in a sexual, very provocative manner just to get attention. And I feel like that is so messed up. And then us as men, we don't really help the situation sometimes either. But then it's kind of like a back and forth. You can't really blame it on one sex or the other. It's a pattern that has been developing like over the years with people from past generations, their thought processes on it, suppression of these type of sexual topics, and people not being able to feel like they could talk about it and really express how they feel about it. I feel like we're heading into a world where maybe people are becoming more liberated and able to talk about these things now more. But you can obviously tell in this movie that they portray the ignorance of our country when it comes to like the older generation and how they react to those type of situations. And that's something that I really like about this movie. Like I said, I didn't find, another reason why it gets a 3.8 is because I didn't really find anything funny about this movie. I found the whole movie tragic because there was a lot of strong topics that are just not funny. They're too serious to be funny because they are things that people are too afraid to talk about. So, yeah, I definitely felt like this movie should not have been labeled as a comedy. I saw it right here on my whatchamacallit, on the computer. I was looking up the movie Assassination Nation to look at when it was made. 2018. See, it's labeled crime action, but when you go to Wikipedia, right here, Wikipedia, it says Assassination is a 2018 American black comedy thriller film. First of all, you should not be calling it black. You should be calling it dark comedy. Dark comedy. Black comedy is Kevin Hart, Chris Tucker, Martin Lawrence, who else? Ice Cube, like Friday, Next Friday, all those movies with Witherspoon, all these other black comedians. That's black comedy. This is not black comedy. This is dark comedy. You can't call this black comedy. Like, it's disrespectful. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll check you out on the next episode. Peace out.